and that in childhood, when kids are exposed to high doses of adversity, that it actually activates their stress response, right? Releases stress hormones like adrenaline and cortisol. And these stress hormones affect the way that our brains develop and function. They affect the way our immune system develops and functions. It affects the way our hormonal systems develop, and even the way our DNA is read and transcribed. And those long-term changes are what we now refer to as the toxic stress response.
What can we do to start shifting this so that hopefully we can prevent these adverse events in childhood and decrease the risk for heart disease and dementia and strokes in later life?
Number one, early detection and early intervention is critically important. All of the science shows us that the earlier we intervene, the better. And so screening for adverse childhood experiences is something that every doctor who's seeing kids or clinician who's seeing kids should be doing in primary care. And California is actually moving towards that. In 2020, California is going to require that all kids on Medicaid be screened for adverse childhood experiences. So California is really leading the nation in doing this prevention. But the things that make a difference, right, are safe, stable, and nurturing relationships and environments, right? Like when one of my boys, skins his knee and he has experienced something scary and he comes to me, what do I do? Like, what do we do as parents? We throw our arms around them and give them a hug. And what does that do? It actually releases oxytocin in our child's body that helps to inhibit the stress response. So as parents and caregivers, we biologically have the capacity to buffer our kids' stress response. And that's something that not just as parents, but any adult who is relating to children can, number one, begin to recognize, like if you're an educator and a child is having a behavioral response in class, maybe it's just bad behavior, or maybe this child has an overactive stress response because of the things that are happening in their life that we can't see. So maybe responding to that in a way that's trauma sensitive, right, is critical.
And also, I think sometimes as adults, you kind of bring things from your childhood because that's your norm. So if you reflect on your childhood and you say to yourself, it's not what I wanted it to be, you need to make sure that you're getting the support that you need so that, number one, you can be your best self, and also so that you can break that cycle so you don't pass that on to your child who may then pass it on to their child.
That's exactly right. If you're an adult who has a rough childhood, who has an overactive stress response, sleep, exercise, nutrition, mindfulness like meditation, mental health treatment, and healthy relationships are critical to helping to calm down that stress response so that you can be the parent you want to be.
Yeah.
Well, I would just say keep up the great work and best of luck to you in all of the roles you're filling right now. And you all can read more about this topic in The Deepest Well. If you're in the audience, you're going home with a copy. Enjoy.